Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first CSM podcast. I am Farah, and I'm very delighted to be your host today. We're very excited to be answering your questions and concerns about the Classical School of the Medes. Before we begin, I would like to give you a short introduction about myself. My name is Farah Youssef. I am a holder of a bachelor's degree in English language, and I'm on my last semester of a master's from Trevecca University in organizational leadership. I'm married and I have 2 sons, and I've been running the school in Erbil administration for the last 12 years. Today, we're hosting this podcast with 2 main guests, Ms. Noor and Ms. Linda. Please go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Well, good afternoon, Ms. Farah. Good afternoon, Ms. Linda. Thank you for having me today as part of our first CSM podcast. My name is Noor. I am married and a mother of 2 children who are 4 years old. I've been with CSM schools full-time for over 10 years now. I hold a degree in medicine, and currently I am a student in Master's in Developmental Psychology.
All right. Well, we're very pleased to have you with us.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. How are you, Ms. Farah? And I'm very delightful to be here with you both today. I'm Ms. Linda. I've been working with CSM for the last 20 years of my life, and I'm holding a bachelor degree in translation. I'm a mother of 2. I'm married, and I have 2 children. Well, they are not children anymore. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she's a student in HMU, Dentistry College, and this is her last year to graduate. And my son is in 8th grade in Erbil campus. I've been working on holding some academic tasks, and I'm here today to help and answer any of your questions.
Well, I'm very delighted to be holding this podcast and having you as our main guests today. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be answering your questions and concerns, and today's podcast are questions about the CSM history and our system. I would like to ask Ms. Noor with the first question. Can you tell us a little bit about CSM, when it started, and how are we an international school?
Yes, the Classical School of the Medes are 3 schools located in Kurdistan, Iraq. The first school started in Slimani in 2001. Then it was followed by CSM Duhok, which started in 2002. And finally, CSM Hawlir opened up in 2003. The Classical School of the Medes is considered an international school according to the Ministry of Education of Kurdistan region, because it's a status that's given to a school that applies international curriculum and an international certification other than the local known as the baccalaureate degree, and therefore it holds an international status.
So if you would say in one statement, how are we different? How is an international school different from a private school?
International schools are private schools. In addition to being ran with its own administration, it has to have what's called an international linkage to a mother school. The mother school that is linked to the Classical School of the Medes is located in Nashville, Tennessee, and that school provides the graduates of CSM their final transcript going from grade 12 to the university.
Well, that's good to know. A famous question that we have a lot of the times from you parents is, Ms. Linda, I would like to ask you this. How are we a classical school? How is the Classical School of the Medes titled that?
Yeah, this is a very famous question, actually. A classical school of the Medes draws from classical education models, which based on teaching all subjects in English except for certain subjects like Arabic, Kurdish, Mafi Muraf, Komalayati. The classical international education based on word teaching through speaking, writing, reading, rather than images. And it's 3 steps. There are 3 main steps. First, the students get to know the basic facts. Then they learn how to organize and understand those basic facts. And lastly, they will learn how to express their own ideas. So this is basically how the classical education is.
How is that different from other schools?
Other schools are mostly based on memorization, which is the first step in our teaching, let's say, climax. And it's the very first step. What's different in our school, we teach students to be independent and find the solution by themselves. They solve the question by using their original thinking skill, not by memorizing the question, which is really useful for them when they will pursue in their higher education and or study in certain universities, because then they won't depend on memorization only.
Being a mom of two, one who graduated from CSM and one who is in the high school or will be in the high school next year, and being a member of the educational higher committee, what do you believe is easier? Which system? Is it the classical system or the memorizational system in teaching?
For me, from personal experience, I've been in governmental schools, and I think it's harder because
Which one?
The baccalaureate system or the system that most of the schools are having today. In our school, in CSM schools, they teach if the student is on the right track with the good follow-up from the parents, from the family, and with the solid system we're running today, the students will be independent and they will have their own routine of studying. They don't need this routine of memorization for the information. So I think this is the main difference between these two systems.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that feedback. We meet new families every day. We get a lot of messages on our social media. Ms. Noor, one of the questions that almost everybody asks is, what system do you follow? What system does the Classical School of the Medes follow?
Yes. We talked about the classical system, which is an educational system that is integrated into an American curriculum with methodologies from different models. And by the end, the student is equipped and ready to take on an international exam. And this is what the academic program aims for the student to be, besides what Ms. Linda just mentioned: independent, critical thinker, able to solve, express on their own. At the end, they will take a set of exams that are not set by the school. They're not set by any of the faculty member. And the students should be able to perform well on these examinations. So it's an American-based examination system that follows what we call a GPA and an international examination at the end of graduation.
Can you tell us a little bit about the GPA system? When does it start? How many years does it go for? And how is that with university acceptance?
The GPA stands for General Point Average. It's an American-based system that uses the high school grades, which are grades 9, 10, 11, and 12, where the student takes a variety of courses. There is no scientific and liberal arts. The students are exposed to both together, and they do get to select few elective classes that they are more interested to study further, but the GPA itself includes all the lessons from the high school years. And by the end of their high school journey, they receive a transcript that holds a 4.0 average for all the courses they have taken.
And how is that related to international exams?
Since the international schools in Kurdistan in general do not take the baccalaureate exam, they're required to fulfill certain criteria in order to be accepted in the KRG universities, whether public or private. In the American system, a student is required to complete and successfully pass their GPA, and then perform on the SATs and the AP exams in order for them to apply to the universities. And that process is a few years of preparation. As Ms. Linda mentioned, the memorizational exam is for a short performance, while the AP and the SAT requires the students to accumulate knowledge and accumulate skills through several years in order to complete the SAT and the AP, which the GPA, or the normal classes that they take, equips and prepares students to take and practice and go through that experience and get ready to go to college with a variety of AP examinations.
Now, I'm sure as parents watching us now and audience is watching us now, I'm sure they would like to know a few questions about international exams, since international exams are so much around now in Kurdistan, and all or most international schools are having to take it. When a student doesn't do well on an international test, can they redo it? That's the first question that, as a school principal, I'm asked. And if they do poorly, can the GPA cover for that? If they have a great GPA and do really poor on an international exam, does that compensate anything?
Yeah, the Ministry of Education, along with the Kurdistan Parliament and the committees in the educational governmental realm, has provided an excellent opportunity for many students here to go through multiple systems. Parents have choices to make, whether they want to do the public or the private, and the private alone has several sectors, one of them being the American system, that CSM functions within that framework. Taking an international exam within the Kurdistan region is required for college acceptance, as we've mentioned before. It comes with new skills and anxieties that students and parents face at the same time. The SATs and the APs are organized by an organization called College Board. They're the ones who set the calendar and the dates for the examinations. SAT exams are administered 6 times a year, while the AP exams are administered in May for a period of 2 weeks. As we speak today, we're ending this year's AP examinations. For example, today was a physics exam. And if a student, as you asked me earlier, what would happen, let's say, if they don't score well, or if they don't like their score? Good news is they can repeat that. SAT has 6 multiple options for them to choose from in the calendar, while the AP can be done the following year throughout the high school. So let's say a student starts in grade 9 and they have 4 years to complete these requirements. It's not a 2 months study for it and this is it and you're ready to go to college. So during the 4 years of high school, they can prepare for these exams, they can retake them, and even if they pass but they don't meet the target they would like to meet, they can absolutely go back, cover the areas that they think they need to study, and retake it again.
Well, that's rich information. I hope the audience has gotten some kind of information of what just Ms. Noor has mentioned. And if you have any more questions about the APs or international exams, please text us on our social media, and we will be very glad to help you. Moving on from international to local, Ms. Linda, I would like to ask you that. Since you've got kids and who've dealt with Kurdish and Arabic subjects at CSM, what subjects do we teach that are required by the Ministry of Education, and how do we deal with international students who haven't done either Kurdish or Arabic before. How do we deal with that as a school?
From the subjects that are required to teach and students are required to take in CSM schools are Arabic and Kurdish. And our school is following the Ministry of Education instructions and regulations by teaching those subjects. Now, one of the most famous questions we got to ask from families, are they counted in the yearly average? I mean, Arabic and Kurdish. And is it counted in the GPA when students is done with his high school studies? Yes, they are counted in the yearly average, and in the GPA of high school students, Arabic and Kurdish are counted as well.
Absolutely.
We have started something like 8 years ago in CSM school, which is waived program.
Yes.
Waived program basically is has been made for students from international students who come from abroad. They know zero Kurdish, zero Arabic, so we help them to adapt with this new language. The program lasts 4 years, and through these 4 years, the students will be able to catch up with the year of his own grade. For example, if he got accepted in the wave system by when he's in grade 5, by the time he's becoming a grade 7, his Kurdish and his Arabic are good enough so he can join the regular classes of that his class is taking as well. Yeah.
Yes, that means we're not only targeting students who know the mother tongue, but also students who are living abroad who might struggle with their mother tongue, which is either Arabic or Kurdish. We've created a special program for them to adapt into that system. Well, that's great to know, and I hope we have helped families and students in this area.
Yes.
Moving on, some more great questions that we have from families. And again, dear audience, if you have any other question that you would like us to answer in our next episode, please let us know through our social media. Ms. Noor, I would like to ask you this question. What extracurricular activities do we have aside from our educational activities that kind of encourage students to come to CSM?
The calendar is full of events from the beginning of school that involves types of activities. Some are academic, such as spelling bee, science fair, cultural day. Others are sport geared. There are tournaments with other schools or CSM among themselves as grades or classes. Different sport games that the students get to participate and choose to participate in. Other activities are educational programs that CSM offers, such as the preliminary program and the remedial program that helps students advance in certain skills by focusing on smaller groups. So the CSM calendar is very full of academic projects and programs that integrates what they learn in normal classes and kind of implement in the activities. So they're not considered separate, especially the academic ones, since we speak on behalf of the academic team. They have all academic goals that are set for the students to meet, group work, certain skills, application of what they actually learned in the normal classes.
Well, thank you. With that, do we have the team that is equipped to give these extra courses, to give these classes? How do we train our teachers? How do we select our teachers, Ms. Linda?
We select our teachers, and when we select them, we focus on having teachers that are knowledgeable, passionate, and they have the skill to engage with the students in enthusiasm. In order to get to that level of teachers, we have two types of follow-up. First, the yearly training. We have Lihato courses run by Al Safan Educational Company, where teachers are going to be part of workshop and courses to get to know the most updated techniques, teaching methodologies, and knowledge subjects, technology as well. And as well as we have the daily follow-up where our CCAs, the supervisor of certain subject, they used to attend the classes, observe the teachers, sharing some notes, checking planners and whiteboards. So the teachers are really equipped and qualified to follow our CSM standards, whether it's in basic education or any type of fun activities that would help to enhance the students' education.
Well, if you are a candidate and you hold a bachelor's degree and you believe you are equipped and can get a title of a teaching position or an employee at the Classical School of the Mead, we have started our opening positions and we're taking in CVs. Well, thank you for that, Ms. Linda.
You're welcome.
We're almost closing up. I would like the audience to know why would they apply? There's so many international schools around, and the city of Erbil has so many schools, maybe less than other cities. But why would they choose the Classical School of the Meads? And if you can give us just a quick summary, what are the ages that we accept starting KG? And would you recommend, or would you have any advice for parents who would like to apply, or students who would like to apply to the Classical School of the Meads?
Yes, this is a question everyone asks, why choose CSM? CSM has been around for 20 years, over 20 years now. KG1 is the first level and grade 12 is the final level. Starting from 4 years old and building up until they graduate. Kurdistan offers many systems, many schools, and sometimes parents, especially parents of young children who have not been through different types of schools, ask and want to be directed towards that. My advice would be visit as many schools as you are interested in. What would you like to see in the education of your children? Ask friends, ask people who have attended a certain program or a certain school, and see how their kids are, how they act, how they behave. One of, to me personally, that I really hold dearly to this team, and we hold everybody up to the standard, is our ethical code. CSM very much cares about the character of the person. The ethical bring up is not just being knowledgeable, fluent in English, speaking perfect grammar, making no mistakes on their examination. That part, I think, can be offered by anybody. But what CSM, in addition, offers is a character building where kids are passionate, they love the community, they want to be part of the community, they want to make a difference in their, starting from themselves, then their surroundings. And our aim, by the time they're older, they impact the entire community and nation. So to me, the ethical standard CSM holds and maintains, which has been maintained for the last 20 years, I think is a golden ticket. And that's why I recommend CSM.
Well, thank you very much. And age wise, what ages do we accept at the Classical School?
KG1 starts at 4, KG2 is at 5, and so on and so forth until it moves up.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great having you with us.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you have enjoyed your time with us. The most fresh answers you will get is through these podcast episodes, is because you've got the most senior team of CSM actually giving out this program. Ms. Linda as a educational higher committee member, Ms. Noor as chair of the educational member, and I'm the chair of the administration member. Well, thank you very much. If you're interested at CSM, please apply. If you have any questions, please let us know through the comments, and we will get back to you in our next episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you.